So we're reading from 3rd Canto, chapter 9, text 11. Yeah, 3rd Canto, chapter 9, text 11. And these are Brahma's prayers. Very beautiful. Is that correct? 3, 9, 11? Yeah.
Which one, please?
3, 9, 11.
3, 9,
Tvam bhakti yoga paribhavita ritsaroja Tvam bhakti yoga paribhavita ritsaroja Ase shrutekshita patho nanunatha pumsam Yadyadhyata urugaya vibhavayanti Tattadvapu pranayase sadanugrahaya Tvam bhakti yoga paribhavita ritsaroja Ase shrutekshita patho nanunatha pumsam Yadyadhyat urugaya vibhavayanti Tattadvapu pranayase sadanugrahaya Tvam bhakti yoga paribhavita ritsaroja Ase shrutekshita patho nanunatha pumsam Yadyadhyata urugaya vibhavayanti Tattadvapu pranayase sadanugrahaya Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Translation. O my Lord, your devotees can see you through the years by the process of bona fide hearing, and thus their hearts become cleansed, and you take your seat there. You are so merciful to your devotees that you manifest yourself in the particular eternal form of transcendence in which they always think of you. Purport. Before that, I skipped repetition because not everyone has a phone. But would you like to repeat? We can repeat. Yeah? Yeah, you can repeat. Anyone wants to repeat the verse?
Okay.
You'll have to look at your phone because it's not on the screen. Yeah. Tvam bhakti yoga paribhavita ritsaroja Ase shrutekshita patho nanunatha pumsam Yadyadhya urugaya vibhavayanti Tattadvapu pranayase sadunagrahaya
Tvam bhakti yoga paribhavita ritsaroja
Tvam bhakti yoga paribhavita ritsaroja
Ase shrutekshita patho nanunatha pumsam
Ase shrutekshita patho nanunatha pumsam
Yadyadhyata urugaya vibhavayanti
Yadyat Udiyata Urugaya Vibhavayanti
Tattad vapu pranayase satanugrahaya.
Tattad Vapu Pranayase Sadanugrahaya. Ladies? Tvam Bhakti Yoga Paribhavitarit Saroja Akse Shrutekshita Patho Nanunatha Pumsam Yadyadhyata Urugaya Vibhavayanti Tattad Vapu Paranase Sanugrahaya.
Tvam Bhakti Yoga Paribhavitarit Saroja
Bhakti yoga paribhavitarisa saroja.
Ase Shrutekshita Pato Nanunatha Pumsam
Ase shrutekshita pato nanunatha pusam.
Yadyadhyata Urugaya Vibhavayanti
Yadyadhyata urugaya vibhavayanti.
Tattad Vapu Pranayase Satanugrahaya
Tattad vapu pranayase sadanugrahaya.
I'll read the translation once again. O my Lord, your devotees can see you through the years by the process of bona fide hearing, and thus their hearts become cleansed, and you take your seat there. You are so merciful to your devotees that you manifest yourself in the particular eternal form of transcendence in which they always think of you. Purport. The statement here that the Lord manifests himself before the devotee in the form in which the devotee likes to worship him indicates that the Lord becomes subordinate to the desire of the devotee. So much so that he manifests his particular form as the devotee demands. This demand of the devotee is satisfied by the Lord because he is pliable in terms of the transcendental loving service of the devotee. This is confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita 4:11. Ye yatha mam prapadyante tams tathaiva bhajamyaham. We should note, however, that the Lord is never the order supplier of the devotee. Here in this verse, it is particularly mentioned, Tvam Bhakti Yoga Paribhavita. This indicates the efficiency achieved through execution of matured devotional service, or prema, love of Godhead. This state of prema is achieved by the gradual process of development from faith to love. On faith, one associates with the bona fide devotees, and by such association, one can become engaged in bona fide devotional service, which indicates proper initiation in the execution of the primary devotional duties prescribed in the revealed scriptures. This is clearly indicated herein by the word Shrutekshita. The Shrutekshita path is to hear from the bona fide devotees who are conversant with Vedic wisdom, free from mundane sentiment. By this bona fide hearing process, the neophyte devotee becomes cleansed of all material rubbish, and thus he becomes attached to one of the many transcendental forms of the Lord as described in the Vedas. This attachment of the devotee to a particular form of the Lord is due to natural inclination. Each and every living entity is originally attached to a particular type of transcendental service because he is eternally the servitor of the Lord. Lord Chaitanya says that the living entity is eternally a servitor of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. Therefore, every living entity has a particular type of service relationship with the Lord eternally. This particular attachment is invoked by practice of regulative devotional service to the Lord, and thus the devotee becomes attached to the eternal form of the Lord, exactly like one who is already eternally attached. This attachment for a particular form of the Lord is called Swarupa Siddhi. The Lord sits on the lotus heart of the devotee in the eternal form the pure devotee desires. And thus, the Lord does not part from the devotee, as confirmed in the previous verse. The Lord, however, does not disclose himself to a casual or unauthentic worshipper to be exploited. This is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 7.25. Naham prakasha sarvasya yogamaya samavrita. Rather, by yogamaya, the Lord remains concealed to the non-devotees or casual devotees who are serving their sense gratification. The Lord is never visible to the pseudo-devotees who worship the demigods in charge of universal affairs. The conclusion is that the Lord cannot become the order supplier of a pseudo-devotee, but He is always prepared to respond to the desires of a pure, unconditional devotee who is free from all tinges of material infection. Om Ajnantimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmritam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishthaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gauravakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So this verse appears in the third canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, where Brahma is praying. And he's praying, while he's praying, he also realizes all of the devotional truths that have been manifested in his heart right at the inception of this universe. So as the universe is created, first from the navel of Garbhodakshai Vishnu, a stem comes out. Just like before a flower is born, you have the stem. And the stem has 14 sections. And these are the 14 worlds. And right at the top of the stem is a lotus that appears. And that lotus, there is one living entity that appears on top of that lotus. And that living entity is Brahma. And as Brahma appears, he is completely bewildered. What's going on? He only hears sounds of the waves of the Garbhodaka ocean, tumultuous. And he hears the wind blowing. He cannot hear anything else. He cannot see anything. Completely dark. So this darkness is the root cause of this material existence. It's completely dark. Unless it is dark, we cannot be ignorant, right? That is why when people go to the cinema to watch a movie, cinema theater, the first thing they do is switch off all the lights. Make it dark. Unless it is dark, there is no possibility of the mind to be absorbed in what is going on on the screen, because you are too aware. So darkness causes lack of awareness. And it is that darkness that is faced by Brahma. He's not aware of where he is, who he is, what is he meant to do. And at that time, he is reminded of his original position as a servant of Krishna, because the Lord had already induced this message in the heart of Brahma. The first verse of Srimad Bhagavatam says, Tene Brahma Hridaya Adi Kavaye Muhyanti Yat Surayah. Tene, this relationship that Brahma has with Krishna, Tene means was expanded, was given to Adi Kavi. Adi Kavi means the first living entity, the first intelligent being. Kavi means intelligent being, which is Brahma. Tene Brahma. Brahma here means the Vedas. The message of the Vedas was revealed in the heart of Brahma. Tene Brahma Hridaya Adi Kavaye Muhyanti Yat Surayah. The Lord revealed, first he revealed his relationship with Brahma. And then Brahma hears two sounds. What are the two sounds? Ta, pa. Just these two sounds, ta and pa. To Brahma, it immediately means, see, sometimes we hear things, it may not be meaningful for us. Because we are too, even when we hear Krishna Katha, it may not really have much impact, because we are too covered by the material energy of the Lord. As Srila Prabhupada says in the purport, for one who is covered by the material energy of the Lord, there is no possibility of going deeper into understanding the pastimes of the Lord. And this, in fact, the previous verse to this verse also says, such non-devotees engage their senses in very troublesome and extensive work, and they suffer insomnia at night because their intelligence constantly breaks their sleep with various mental speculations. They are frustrated in all their various plans by supernatural power. Even great sages, if they are against your transcendental topics, must rotate in this material world. It's a beautiful verse. So, to us, the words ta, pa may not mean anything. But for one who is in tune, like Brahma, he immediately understood, I'm meant to perform austerity. And then he performs austerity and he fully realizes his duty, which is to create, to be the creator of this universal entities, everything material and non-material. Of course, the jivas don't come out from Brahma. The jivas have come from the glands of Mahavishnu. Two things come from the glands of Mahavishnu: the jiva and the kala. Kala means time. You see, the material energy is it's like a inert ball of matter, where the three modes are in complete equilibrium. Sattvagun, Rajagun and Tamagun are in complete equilibrium. And when the Lord glances on that matter, inducing Kala and Jiva, time and living entities, then the equilibrium is lost and the creation begins. And then from his navel, he himself enters inside as Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, and from his navel, the 14 worlds are created. And on the top of the world, is a beautiful lotus in which Brahma is born, and then he meditates. And in his meditations, he is making these prayers, beautiful prayers. This particular verse is especially powerful and speaks about one who has attained prema bhakti, including those devotees who are aiming to attain prema bhakti. It says, Tvam bhakti yoga paribhavita ritsaroja asya. Asya means you sit, you remain. You see, the Lord actually is there as Paramatma in everyone's heart. And yet, in the Bhagavatam he says, he is near, yet dure, yet he is very far. It's an interesting combination that the Lord is so near and yet he is so far. Why is he so far? Why do you think he's so far?
Because he's not touched by the material.
Yes. Because of?
Consciousness.
Yes,
Consciousness is far.
he's far because we are far from him. It's like being next to someone but not recognizing that person. If we don't recognize that person, we are far. We may be physically near, but we may be very far. And the heart is made of stone, stone-hearted. So what bhakti does is converts that heart of stone into a lotus on which the Lord can reside. So in this verse it says, Tvam, you my Lord, bhakti yoga paribhavita. Paribhavita means one who has developed the fullness of love. Pari means complete. Like in English you have the word perimeter as a prefix, P-E-R-I. Perimeter means what is around the circle is the perimeter. Yeah? So pari, the Sanskrit word, from that you have the English word peri, which means complete, all around. Bhavita. Bhava means, actually this Sanskrit word bhava comes from the root bhu, from which we have the English word to be. So bhava means to be in its entirety. To love means to be. Bhava means love, and to love means to be in full consciousness of the other person. To be, that is bhava. And here he says, Tvam, you bhakti yoga paribhavita. Bhakti, we all know, devotional service. Yoga, connected with. You are connected. See, we said that the Lord is so close as Paramatma, but he is so far because we have no connection with him. We don't recognize him. What is the connection? Connection means yoga. In fact, all these words, like the word yoga, in English you have the word yoke, Y-O-K, like when you farm with the bull, you yoke the ox rather. You yoke the ox and then you do the farming. So yoke is the same word which has come from yoga, which means to connect. So bhakti, yoga, paribhavita, one who is connected with you in fullness of love, paribhavita. How? Through bhakti. Bhakti yoga paribhavita, what happens to the heart of that person? Krishna is not interested in sitting on a stone heart. Rit, the English word heart, comes from Sanskrit rit, heart, heart. All these are words, Sanskrit words, but they are also in English. So the heart becomes saroja. Saroja means lotus. A lotus that is born in the lake of bhakti. Saras means lake and ja means to be born. So this lotus, as one progresses, Srila Prabhupada explains, from Shraddha to Prema. Shraddha is like bija, the seed of the lotus. That seed slowly grows from Shraddha and it actually starts to form like a bud in a budding stage when one develops Nishtha. Up to Nishtha, you don't see anything. You just see some green, like those who love plants. Mataji loves plants. And you can tell us initially when you sow seed, what do you see? Only some little green things. Let's say you actually sow a seed for a rose plant. You don't see any roses. All you see is just some stems, something coming out. And that is the stage up to Nishtha. But when the bud comes, first sight of some pinkness is there. That is Nishtha. And from Nishtha, then the taste develops, ruchi, and then irresistible attraction, asakti, and you go on all the way to bhav and prema. And at prema, what happens? That lotus has fully opened. So when the lotus has fully opened, Rit Saroja, the lotus of the heart has fully opened. Ase. You know this word also. You know the word asana? Asana means a seat. Vyas asana. The seat on which Vyasadeva once sat. That's a representative seat. So Ase, the Lord actually sits. Up to that point, the Lord is not ready to sit. What is the meaning that the Lord is now sitting? Huh?
Accepts your whatever place you prepare for him.
Correct. He has now accepted a seat. You see, it is said that when a guest is invited, he should be at least offered 3 things. Bhagavatam says, he should be offered sweet words, welcoming words, at least a glass of water to drink, and a seat. However, scriptures say that when one is not friendly, then the person who has come to your door may not want to enter your house, may not want to even take a glass of water, and definitely don't want to sit. And we see this situation in the case of Krishna and Duryodhana. When Krishna went to Duryodhana with a message, please think about it. You can avoid this war if you give just 5 villages to these Pandavas. Why 5 villages to the Pandavas?
Because they were 5.
Because they were 5. And why give the villages away?
Because it's the dharma is to...
Yeah. Krishna said their dharma is to rule. So they cannot do anything else. They have to be in charge of, people. Praja. There is no Raja without Praja. Correct? There is no king without subjects. So you have to give at least 5 villages. What did Duryodhana say? I won't give land equal to the tip of a needle. Shuchi matrineva na dasyami. I will not give. Even Shuchi agre, even the tip of the needle, that much land I will not give to these five. Let them do what they want. Then his cunning uncle, Shakuni, he said, oh, Duryodhan, he went to his ear and he said, you have actually really annoyed Krishna. You are right, these five Pandavas are pretty useless. They are not very powerful. But this Krishna is a magician. He's a very powerful magician. It's not good to challenge him and annoy him. Now that you've made your mind, you have confided in, you've expressed your mind to Krishna, that you don't want to give anything to these five Pandavas. Don't annoy him. Invite him for lunch. I have heard that he is really greedy for milk sweets. I've heard when he was young, he used to steal because he is just a poor villager, a poor boy, a cowherd boy. He would steal from other people's homes. He would have never had a taste of the royal milk products. So enamor him by inviting him and mention that you will feed him many nice milk sweets. This is Shakuni. See, this is material calculation. And so Duryodhan, following his uncle, like a pet dog follows the master. He says exactly that. Please, Krishna, come. Please come and honor prasadam in my house. Of course, he said, this Shakuni, he says, give him pralobhanam. Pralobhanam means increase his greed. Describe these milk products that you will offer. Thinking that Krishna is some ordinary man. But of course, Krishna was completely uninterested. And instead of going to him for dinner, Krishna visits Vidura. Vidura is actually son of Vyasadeva. He visits Vidura, and as soon as he sees Vidura, Vidura is overwhelmed. He calls his wife Vidurani and says, look, who's personally arrived? And she comes and she is so stunned, so overwhelmed by the presence of Krishna that she says, what can I offer you? I can cook something for you. I can make some nice drinks for you. I can boil some milk for you. But while you are here, while you are waiting, you must be hungry. Please have these bananas. But let me feed these bananas to you myself personally. And she peels the bananas. And in one pot, where you put the leftover or you put the discard the skin, in that pot, she drops the banana. And she takes the peels and she feeds to Krishna. And Krishna eats. And then she asks, how are these bananas, Krishna? He says, oh, they are the sweetest bananas ever. Even in my incarnation as Ram, although the monkeys were very eager to feed me many fruits, especially bananas, because they like bananas. Generally, we offer Krishna what we want to eat. Right? The monkeys were offering bananas to Krishna. He said, but the monkeys, the banana they offered were not as sweet as these bananas you're offering. And immediately Vidura is shocked. He holds her hand and says, what are you doing? You're feeding the peels to Krishna. Actually, Krishna is looking for our prema. That is what is mentioned in the first line. Paribhavita Rit Saroja. This lotus which has formed after the heart has been completely overwhelmed. Paribhavita with bhav, which means reached prema. Srila Prabhupada explains what is the difference between bhava and prema. Anyone? What's the difference between bhava and prema? Yes? Possessiveness? You know how sweetly Prabhupada explains? It's really nice. He says, it's like a raw mango and a ripe mango. He says both are mango. But one is green in color. It's only a matter of time. It will become nice yellow and ripe. The raw mango is bhava and the ripe mango is prema. So one who has reached bhava is only a matter of time. When the bhava becomes mature, when the raw mango is mature, it becomes a ripe mango. And it becomes sweet. So, paribhavita ritsaroja. And with love, Krishna is able to accept a seat. Ase. Ase means like asana, the same root. Krishna sits down. Like he sat down in the house of Vidura because of love. Even in his incarnation as Ram, there was a lady, a Bhil. Bhil is a community of forest dwellers. They maintain themselves by hunting animals and eating animals and living in the forest. This is how they maintain themselves. They are aborigines. Like you still find them in some parts of Africa, some parts of South America. In Papua New Guinea, some places on earth you find this, aborigines who are Adivasis or communities, forest dwellers, Prabhupada said. So there was one girl, forest dweller girl, who had deep love for Ram. Ever since she heard about Ram being born in Ayodhya, she developed this irresistible love for him. And she was waiting for Ram to personally appear. Her name was Shabari. And you know how when we were talking about the bananas being offered by the monkeys to Lord Ramchandra, they would just pluck a banana and offer to Ramchandra. And in the Bhagavad Gita it is said that there is food in three modes. What are the three modes? Sattva, Rajas and Tama. Food in the mode of Sattva is really sumptuous, it's really nourishing. Food in the mode of passion is tantalizing to the tongue, spicy, giving you some trouble, some pleasure and some pain. Rajagun means it has to give pleasure and pain. hot and sour soup. Hot, sour and sweet. Pleasure and pain. But mode of ignorance means something which is already dead. Mode of ignorance means eating that which is not even touchable. In the list of mode of ignorance, Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, standing on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, that food which is uchishta. What is uchishta?
Overcooked,
No.
old,
Which is left over, which is tasted by someone, half eaten by someone, is considered to be in the mode of tamas. Tamasic food. Now, Krishna, what kind of food can we offer to him? Tamasic, Rajasic, or Sattvic? Even I think I agree with you. And yet we see, if there is love, if there is pure love, then the words of Bhagavad Gita don't hold good. Shabri, when Ram appeared in front of Shabri, she had these berries, forest berries. She would taste the berry. Oh, this is sour, Ram. This is no good for you. She would throw it away. She would take another one, taste it. Ah, this is good. Please have it. Uchishta. Unacceptable. But when there is prema, rit saroja, paribhavita rit saroja, ase, Ram sits. Ram sat down in the ashram of Shabri. We also find Brahma became bewildered because of the interaction between Krishna and the Gopas. What was the height of bewilderment? And Brahma saw that these Gopas, they would all sit together in a place called Gwal Pukhar. Well, many places they would have lunch, but one place they would have lunch regularly was Gwal Pukhar, which is next to Kusum Sarovar in Govardhan. And while they would have lunch, the method of having lunch together was very interesting. All the boys would open up their packed lunch boxes, open their tiffins that their mothers would have packed, and they would take the items and they would start tasting. And if the taste was really nice, they would say, "Ah, Krishna, this is really sweet." You can see there. Yeah? "Krishna, this is really sweet. Oh, this is so juicy. Oh, look at this. It's so chewy but so exciting. Please try." You can see right there, the boy is eating with one hand and taking it and feeding Krishna. And Krishna is opening his mouth. It's right there in that painting. This is Uchishta. This is mode of... Well, according to the Bhagavad Gita, yes, it is Suddha Sattva, but not according to Bhagavad Gita. According to Bhagavad Gita, it is mode of ignorance. But why it becomes Suddha Sattva? Because of prema. This prema is enamoring. But somebody like Brahma with his 4 heads representing the 4 Vedas cannot comprehend. He says, what is this going on? How can he be God? Finished. Let me steal all these boys. Let me steal all these calves. So this prema, this bhakti yoga paribhavita ritsaroja, this beautiful line there. Tvam, you only ase, you only sit there. See, Krishna is sitting there. In Duryodhana's house, he only stood as Paramatma in the heart. Have you seen Paramatma painting? He's only standing. He's not sitting. He has no interest in sitting down with you. He's only standing. But here, he's sitting. So, although, actually I was listening to Srila Prabhupada last week when I was cooking at the manor in the morning breakfast. I was listening to Prabhupada, and Prabhupada says at one place that Krishna, when he was speaking on the battlefield, he was speaking officially. Prabhupada uses this word, so sweet. He says Krishna was speaking officially. But then when he was speaking with Ramananda Rai, he was speaking from his heart. So Bhagavad Gita officially. The words Prabhupada uses are so sweet, so sweet. He said, Krishna is speaking officially. So officially speaking, you can only offer a mode of goodness. But if you are a prema bhakta, then that is why it is said, those who are raganuga bhaktas, who achieve prema, they don't necessarily respect the rules and regulations of the Shastra. This is the meaning. This is the meaning. What if I said, well, the Gopas were still offering some milk products and some nice meals, and Shabri was still offering only berries? What if somebody wants to offer fish to Krishna? Or somebody wants to offer snake to Krishna? Some such thing. Is it acceptable?
I heard that Krishna went with Arjuna for hunting
Huh.
as a Kshatriya.
Huh.
And the Kshatriyas, they would eat meat, so I don't know yet, but
You heard any time any Kshatriya eating snakes?
no. But I wonder if Krishna also, when they were hunting, that Krishna would also eat with the Kshatriyas.
Okay. So he would have ate with the Kshatriyas. Yes, that is a possibility.
But not snakes.
But not snakes. I once visited a market in south of China, in a place called Yangshuo. Beautiful place. You know, the Chinese currency, the 100 yuan currency has these beautiful mountains that are like peaks with a river. So in Yangshuo there's the Li River. It's a very mesmerizing, beautiful area, very green, and these mountains are so scenic. Nothing like what we see in Belgium. It's different. And then I visited the local market. And I saw, I couldn't go beyond a certain point. I finished the vegetable market, and then the next market, I was greeted by the head of a deer hanging upside down with his horns. And then there were snakes, slithering snakes that were being chopped alive. And there were dogs. And I'll not mention anymore. So, snakes, oh, cannot. So while I was looking at this painting, I just happened to look at that painting as well, where you have Krishna or Narayan on the back of Garuda trying to uplift a devotee from the ocean of the material world. And then a thought appeared to my mind. What does Garuda eat? is his favorite food?
Snakes.
Snakes. Should he be eating without offering it to Narayan, at least mentally? I don't think so.
Krishna said he's not eating. He said clearly what he's not going to accept.
So Garuda eats something that Krishna doesn't accept. Is it?
Yeah, but this is his food.
Well,
Because he's a bird.
he's a bird. He's like an eagle. This is food. And Krishna likes it. He approves of it as Narayan. But that's a special concession done only for Garuda. Please do not think of offering snakes to Krishna. But the point is, it's that love that supersedes the so-called external offering. In that loving service that Garuda performs for Narayan, for his Lord, for his Master. You know, we know that Garuda loves snake because Garuda was cursed by by Saubhari Muni, that I am meditating in. So the episode is this: Saubhari Muni was meditating in the Yamuna, and once while he was meditating, he heard there was a splash, and he saw, his eyes opened, and he saw all the fish running around. And it happened so many times. So the king of the fish approached Saubhari Muni and said, "My dear sage, you are meditating here in the Yamuna. And you are so peaceful, but we are extremely disturbed. Because this Garuda comes once in a while and grabs one of our family members to eat. Please do something so that you are peaceful and we are peaceful." So Saubhari Muni says, "I curse Garuda that he will never be able to come to eat any creature in Yamuna." So Garuda says, "I accept the curse on my head." Of course, there is another reason why he accepts the curse. We will not go into that pastime. But this is why when Kalia, the snake, who was living in, where was he living? In Ramyaka Dweep, which actually when Srila Prabhupada visited Fiji, the island of Fiji, Srila Prabhupada said, "This is where Kalia lived." Yeah. So Kalia originally lived there, but out of fear of Garuda, he was wondering, where do I go? How do I save my life? Garuda will find me wherever I go. So he slithered and swam all the way into the Yamuna without any fear of Garuda. Garuda loves snakes. But an offering of snakes with pure love, Narayan might accept. Please don't try doing it before we get to pure love. But the point is this. Tvam bhakti yoga paribhavita ritsaroja ase. Brahma is saying, "My dear Lord, you sit. You sit on the throne of the lotus heart. That lotus which is completely opened." Now, the lotus doesn't open. Well, there are two kinds of lotuses. Two kinds of lotuses. One is known as Padma. The other is known as Kairava. Padmakara is name of sun god, Surya. Padmakara means he makes the Padma open. Only when the sun rises, the lotus opens. The lotus doesn't open for anyone and everyone, only for the sun. And Lord Chaitanya says in his Shikshashtakam prayer, have you heard of this word Kairava? What is that verse? Shreya Kairava Chandrika Vitaranam. Chandrika. Chandrika means the moonlight. So Kairava is another kind of lotus which only opens in moonlight. Doesn't open otherwise. So here, Paribhavita Rit Saroja. Here the lotus has fully opened, but only for Krishna. That lotus does not open. The seat is not available for anyone and everyone. And on that lotus which has completely blossomed sits the Lord. Now the Lord has to arrive. Like a guest, he has to arrive on a certain path. In Sanskrit, the word for path is path, from which the English word path came. Path means path. So what is the path which is taken to arrive at the residence, at the throne of the heart? What is the path? What path does Krishna take? Bhakti is the yoga or the binding force that attracts him to come. That is his attractive force. That's the magnet. Bhakti yoga is the magnet. Yeah. Ase Shrute Kshita Patho. The next line. Shruta Ikshita. Shruta means yes. Shruta Ikshita Patho. Patha means path. He comes into the heart through which path?
Years.
Just see. While we are discussing this, it's already 8:46. While we are discussing this, Krishna already appeared in our hearts during this discussion. How did he appear? Through the path of the Shruta Ikshita Patho. Patha means path. Nanu Natha Pumsam. Natha means, oh my Lord. Natha means not just the Lord, but it means one who is the ultimate father. The father of all, the whole universe, Jagat, is Jagat Nath, Jagannath. So here he says, Nanu Natha Pumsam. You are the father of whom? Now, officially speaking, Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Aham Bija Pradapita. Aham Bija Prada. Bija Prada, I gave the seed. I'm the Pita. I'm the father, seed giving father. But it's slightly different in the context of Bhagavatam. Here Brahma is saying, Nanunatha Pumsam. You are the father of the devotees. So, does that mean he is not the father of the other living entities? What do you think? So why here he is saying, even if you read Srila Prabhupada's translation, he says, you are so merciful to your devotees that you manifest yourself in the particular eternal form in their hearts, right? You take the seed. In the word-for-word translation, yes. In the word-for-word translation, he says, Pumsam, of the devotees. Natha, O my Lord. So why Natha here is connected with devotees? The sense is this: he is certainly the father of all living entities. And yet, those who choose to turn their face away from him out of ungratefulness. You see, for those who are fathers, we know I'm a father. There's nothing more painful than seeing a child who is ungrateful. Thankfully, my children are grateful. But to see a child who is ungrateful or even behaving temporarily in an ungrateful manner is extremely painful. So here, Brahma says, because your devotees are always grateful. That is why they deserve your grace. Sad anugrahaya. At the end, the last word of this verse is Sad anugrahaya. Sad anugrahaya, you give your grace to them. Anugraha means grace. You give your grace to the devotees who are ever grateful. Actually, another interesting thing, the word grateful comes from the root, Latin root, gratis, which means to try to please. The word grace also comes from the same root, Latin root, gratis, which means to please. So to get grace, to attract the grace, one has to be grateful. Both the words from the same root. And here we see, because the devotees are so grateful and they are full of love, paribhavita, their heart has blossomed, ritsaroja. Ase, you sit, entering their bodies through Shrutekshita patho, through the path of the ears. I think I should stop, otherwise I will be banned from coming to Radhadesh. So actually, it so happened that Mother Nikunja's husband Prabhu asked me to speak on Srimad Bhagavatam 11th canto, chapter 2, text number 40, which talks about the chanting of the holy names. I was actually introduced to Prabhu in a very interesting way. I was talking about Vrindavan and then talking about Radhakund, and I was just glorifying Radhakund, and the devotee who was listening, I was talking to, I will not name him, from Radhadesh. He said, "Oh, Radhakund, there are so many Babajis, but only few are really genuine devotees, isn't it?" And I said, "Yes." And then he said, "Oh, we have such genuine devotee Babaji at Radhadesh." I will not say the name of the Babaji, but you can guess. So the Babaji asked me to speak on 11 to 40. And when I just arrived at around 7:40, just before the class, Mother Nikunja said, "Oh, why don't you speak on 3, 9, 11? So this class was just spontaneous. There was no preparation. Mother Nikunja was saying, "Oh, I'm really sorry. You must be meditating on the other verse and I'm putting you on the spot." It's nice to be on the spot. Yeah, we can discuss Bhagavatam, any verse from anywhere, at any time. Because Bhagavatam is sweet. It is sweet from wherever. If I give you a gulab jamun, a big gulab jamun, this big. The biggest gulab jamun I ever had was this big. And in my college days, when I was in college, at university college, we had a competition, a gulab jamun competition. It wasn't throwing gulab jamuns, it was eating gulab jamuns. And you could guess who was the winner. All the gulab jamuns that I could eat, being in all the 8.4 million species of life, I ate in that one event and broke the record by eating 84 gulab jamuns. The number 84 is very auspicious.
And then you fainted.
At the end of it, I couldn't think of a gulab jamun for months. As material world is always, things that we feel attracted to are the same things that over time we feel disgusted with. And of course the following morning, all the gulab jamuns came out. And they forced themselves out. I don't want to say any more. Not in this class. But the point is, if I gave you a gulab jamun, and if you had to taste the sweetness of the gulab jamun, where will you bite the gulab jamun? At the top? On the side? In the front? At the bottom? Where?
In the bottom.
So do you mean to say the top will not give you the sweetness?
But on the bottom, the sugar is.
It's oozing with the sweetness and it's dripping from the bottom, yeah. Prabhu, if I've already squished it and given it to you, imagine it's sweet from all sides. No matter where you bite it from. This is Bhagavatam. Bhagavatam is sweet. Whatever verse you take, wherever you taste it, we could only complete the 1.5 lines out of the 4 lines of this verse. So,
you have to come back.
Hare Krishna.
Maybe tonight? Yeah. You're still here the whole day?
I'm here, but we can do something, yeah, maybe. But I hope that was all right, Mother Nikunja. I hope I met your expectations.
Now it's easier to learn the verse by heart also.
Yes.
We're learning it by heart for the Bhakti Bhagavad.
Oh,
So
yeah.
it
Tvam.
comes to life.
Yeah, Tvam, you are attracted by what? Bhakti Yoga. This Bhakti Yoga that you are attracted by is matured in full love, paribhavita. For one who has that full love, that person's heart, rit, has become like a fully blossomed lotus, saroja. Now you remember the first line. Tvam bhakti yoga paribhavita rit saroja. When we are understanding, we are learning. Yeah. Then next what happens? He goes and sits down. Ase. Now how did he come there? Shruta ikshita patho. Shruta ikshita patho. the word ikshita actually means to see with some degree of anticipation. Krishna is not an uninvited guest. He is a much expected guest, very much expected. So he is a Shruta Ikshita Patho. Only when hearing is with expectation, Ikshita, you're looking forward to it, then he comes. He's not just coming because you worked hard to become a prema bhakta. No, you can't expect him to come. Such words, that's why Mahaprabhu says in Chaitanya Charitamrita about Bhagavatam, Prati shloke prati akkhare nana arthakoi. This is Bhagavatam. Prati shloke, in every verse, no, not in every verse. Prati akkhare, in Bengali akkhar, in Sanskrit akshara, which means every syllable. He's confirming it. Every syllable, nana arthakoi, innumerable meanings and sweetness is contained in every syllable. So this Shruta Ikshita Patho. We shall stop here. It's 9 a.m. I definitely don't want to be banned. I can be banned from speaking, but I don't want to be banned from coming to Radhadesh.
And tomorrow you will speak about Babaji's.
Well, I was trying to get the Babaji to speak, but he declined. Thank you very much. We don't have any time for Q&A, but I'm around if anyone wants to speak.
One small question.
Yes.
Because you said when you turn your back to Krishna, actually, so of course he doesn't like it. It's very not appreciated. But can we say also that to reject, when we get rejected, then we feel some pain? Yeah? So is Krishna also feeling pain, or you?
Definitely. The compassion arising in his heart is out of seeing the pain, out of feeling the pain. Like a father looking at an ungrateful son feels pain. Seeing the son suffering, the father feels pain. We are the children of God, Prabhupada said so many times. And like a father, he loves us, but also feels pain when we misbehave. So, alright, thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Samveda Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Go Premanande.